Sup and users, it's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point, talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. How? Okay, today we are back with NATO biolaboratories on the territory of Ukraine. Specifically what I'm talking about is this supposedly extremely secretive message which was only spread across the most trusted Z-patriotic Telegram channels, yet somehow mysteriously it went public in the very short period of time, right? Long story short, what they mention is that Ukrainians are using drones to drop snakes with the genetically modified, mutated virus, so it basically infects Russians and not just soldiers, but regular people as well. But when you thought that the Western alliance on the territory of Ukraine, this was already ridiculous enough, but well, okay, this is the Russian propaganda, this is what they do. Well, apparently the snakes that they brought are from Palestine, so they're called Daboi Palestiniae. Long story short, Russian scientists had to collect them and they sent them to the... I just need to read those things because this is absolutely incredible. They had to send them to Toxicoserpentological Institute to analyze what kind of poison they have. And after a thorough analysis, which probably took less than a day, they came to a conclusion that this poison/virus does not match any of the 70,000 similar ones on record, which most certainly confirms that there was a human touch, and it definitely leads to Ukraine. And yes, you heard it right, in the beginning of this chapter I mentioned that Ukrainians, according to Z propaganda, they bring them with the drones. So the logic behind here of the Z propaganda is the following. There was several drone attacks of Ukrainians against the territory of Russia, but majority of them were intercepted and there were not that much loud noises, which basically means instead of a warhead, it was carrying a container with at least hundreds of these snakes. And yes, even though the interception was destroying the drone, at least a couple of them were surviving and then they were spreading through the forest, multiplying, and well, this is... Guys, I'm tired of talking about this. This is the ridiculous Russian propaganda. You get the idea. But what I will not get tired of is listening to the brand new The Russian Dude album, which consists of 10 different songs of various styles. And guys, I earlier released it to my Patreons and the feedback from you guys was absolutely amazing. You loved it so much, I love it. The songs are truly hilarious, such as Shaigu Mosquito, Battle Babushka's ridiculous Russian propaganda, and more. And I also realized that more people have to hear it. That is why until the end of this weekend, until June 30th, I will be sending this album for free with any purchase of any single merch that you want from our store, TheRussianDude.com. Literally buy whatever you want, there are discounts, and along with the receipt, I will send you this The Russian Dude album. The link to my Patreon and the link to my store is down below. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Now let's continue. Okay, now in all seriousness, let me give you a brief update from the southern and in the eastern front lines. First of all, we'll talk about the situation in the south, specifically in Crimean Peninsula, because it looks like that Russians recently started to seriously fall back to this peninsula, construct defenses, and prepare for the future defense of Crimea. Specifically what I'm talking about is that according to the diversion group called Atesh, which are operating on the territory of the peninsula, they see that Russians started to construct some kind of barriers which are trying to hide the positions specifically of Russian air defense systems located on the Crimean Peninsula. Because previously it was several times that locals were taking pictures of these positions of these air defense systems and more and other military targets, sending them to Ukrainians, and well, that's pretty much how exactly Ukrainians were able to pinpoint target this military equipment. At the same time, it does not look like that local Ukrainians living in Crimea, I don't think they want to become Russians. I mean, otherwise why would they do it, right? Instead, what I do think is that they do feel that Ukrainians potentially will be marching towards Crimea in the near future, hopefully in 2024, most likely one of the next years, and they want to help Ukrainians as much as they can. And once again, speaking about Russians and them constructing these barriers, well, it didn't help, because whenever there is an air defense system and the next day there is some kind of wooden planks, well, this kinda obvious that the system is still there. So Ukrainians continue to send these pictures because you already know, during this June, several of them were destroyed by Ukrainians, sometimes multiple at once in a single day. But then there is more, because the very same diversion group Atesh, they were able to take pictures of fortifications and trenches along the Black Sea coastline. This is basically Russians preparing in case Ukrainian Marines will be landing on the shores of the Crimean Peninsula, because yes, let's be honest, the Russian Navy in the Black Sea is no longer that effective. In fact, they even had to relocate a lot of their ships to other Russian primarily ports, for example in Novorossiysk. For this reason, they do believe that the Black Sea area right now is not that defended, so they might expect some diversions or even reconnaissance groups from Ukrainians. So once again, they're preparing in advance. And the most extraordinary conclusion about all this is that, as you can see, Russians do not care that much about defending Kherson region, whatever is left under their control. They already kinda realized that, well, if Ukrainians do start their counteroffensive against the south, most likely Kherson will be lost eventually, sooner or later. So guys, let's focus on what's really important, let's fall back to Crimea and defend it at all costs. Because Putin, if we do lose Crimea, will be furious. And lastly, this is this funny video also from Crimea, where you can see fortifications around literally a local bar. The question here is, are Russians trying to protect vodka? Let me know down below in the comments why they had to protect a bar. I have no idea. But okay, now let's switch our attention to the east of Ukraine, because Russians looks like they finalized the complete withdrawal from KHARKIV Frontline from one specific settlement, and this one you already heard about it, it is Vovchansk. But first of all, couple of videos from the territory of Russia. First one, as you can see, is from Tambov, where yet another oil refinery has been targeted by Ukrainian drones. Next we have the report by Ukrainian army representatives that for the very first time they were able to destroy the most modern air defense system of Russians called S-500, and an estimated cost of one single unit is approximately $600 million. You already know that one of the main reasons why Ukrainians are focusing so much on these particular systems, it is because of the arrival of the Western fighter jets in the near future, specifically F-16s. So they're simply eliminating all the possibilities for them to be intercepted, trying to make the sky as clear as possible. And in addition to that, Ukrainians are also actively intercepting Russian fighter jets, specifically just in the first half of 2024, 30 plus Russian military planes were reported to be intercepted. And on this map, you can see the approximate location where these fighter jets such as TUS, SUS and MiX were intercepted. But just like mentioned in the beginning of this chapter, yes, the main event of the last 24 hours is that it looks like Russians did a complete withdrawal from Vovchansk, because according to Ukrainian reconnaissance, they do not see the main battle force of the Z army inside this settlement. The main force already retreated. Maybe these are just some individual small units which are hiding in the basements of the houses. These are the only ones who left. They were too late to withdraw, which by the way once again confirms the fact whenever Ukrainians tell the Z army to retreat while they still have a chance, because otherwise this is what happens. The main forces retreated, and this Russian claims that we never abandon our own soldiers. Well, as you can see, like, bye guys, you are on your own now, hoping to see you soon. Well, but we gonna retreat, so see you later, kinda. So this is the mentality of the Z army, abandoning their forces in the basements, in the houses, wherever. And also, if you remember from the previous episodes as well, there is still some Z army representatives under one of the Vovchansk factory. Ukrainians surrounded it, they're just pretty much waiting patiently, because yes, it is Russians who have a limited supply of food and ammunition. And reportedly, according this time to the Western intelligence, in this completely miserable offensive attempt of Russians against Vovchansk, they might have lost an entire elite brigade, which is estimated to be up to 5,000 people. It is also estimated that approximately 30,000 total. These soldiers arrived trying to attack Vovchansk and, well, they could not even do it. This is not that much even significant in terms of logistics city. Still they could not do it, and this is the main force we've been talking about, this 30,000 people, which is now fully withdrawn from Vovchansk. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this episode, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Many more interesting videos are coming. I also have my second channel, Russian Dude Investing, where I have videos on Mondays. So if you miss my face on Monday, well, there you have it. Don't forget that if you buy right now until the end of the weekend any merch from TheRussianDude.com, you will receive the Russian Dude album completely for free with your purchase. Any other useful links are down below. Once again, thanks so much for watching. See you on Tuesday.